The crushing. This past Sunday, there was communion at church, and even though I was watching online, I wanted to participate in the sacred remembrance of the punishment Jesus took for us so that we would not receive the penalty of death. In preparation, I got 3 grapes and crushed them between my fingers to obtain the juice. Whenever I crush grapes, I think of how Jesus' body was also crushed, with blood oozing from it because of the wrongs I have done. But he was pierced for our offenses. He was crushed for our wrongdoings. The punishment for our well being was laid upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 5, NASB. When Jesus was crushed, blood poured out from him. It is interesting to note that the juice from the crushed grapes was called blood in multiple passages in the Old Testament. Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people, binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Genesis chapter 49, verses 8 to 12. As Jacob was dying, he prophesied over his sons. God had obviously shown him how great the tribe of Judah would be. King David and Jesus, the Lion of Judah, came from this tribe. I am intrigued by Jacob saying he washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. The blood of grapes or crushed grapes that was fermented to become wine seems to be foreshadowing what would have happened to Jesus. The blood came from the crushing of his body so it would cleanse us from our sins. Jesus told his disciples to drink wine, which is the blood of grapes, in remembrance of him. For it pleased the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell, and by him to reconcile all things to himself by him, whether things on earth or things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of his cross. Colossians chapter 1, verses 19 to 20. There would be no reconciliation with the Father if Jesus did not allow himself to be crushed for our wrongs. He made us have peace with the Father by spilling his blood on Calvary's cross. Jesus is our example, and so we must understand that there are times when we too will have to be crushed for the glory of the Father. I like to quote Oswald Chambers a lot because he has penned some quite profound words. The quote below is from his classic, Utmost for His Highest, which has been making me reflect a lot for several years. This call has nothing to do with personal sanctification, but with being made broken bread and poured out wine. God can never make us wine if we object to the fingers he uses to crush us with. If God would only use his own fingers and make me broken bread and poured out wine in a special way, but when he uses someone whom we dislike or some set of circumstances to which we said we would never submit and makes those the crushers, we object. We must never choose the scene of our martyrdom. If ever we are going to be made into wine, we will have to be crushed. You cannot drink grapes. Grapes become wine only when they have been squeezed. I really don't want to be squeezed, and I don't like the process of being crushed. The circumstances God uses can cause excruciating pain physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. But just like Jesus, the Father crushes us so that we can be poured out wine for those around us who need it. It is not easy, but it is necessary. Yes, we, like Jesus, will want this cup of suffering to be taken away from us, but it is not our will, but the Father's will. We have to do as Jesus did and allow the crushing, knowing that the God of peace will crush Satan under his feet shortly. Sometimes shortly doesn't come soon enough, but God's timing is perfect, even though the pain we undergo seems unbearable and we would like it to stop immediately. However, how we respond to suffering is a great testimony of God's work in us. Beloved, Do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you, but rejoice to the extent that you partake of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory is revealed, you may also be glad with exceeding joy. First Peter chapter 4, verses 12 to 13. When we're going through a difficult time and we know that we are living a life that exemplifies Christ, then we understand that it is all for the glory of the Lord and we can rejoice. I know sometimes our suffering may not make any sense to us, but God has a purpose for the pain. So let us not resist the crushing, but let God have his way so he will be glorified.